Hey Craig, welcome to the MasterCard Cup. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. We'll let this play on through. We'll put you back in your address position, and we'll go ahead and take a look at a few things for you. So while we got you back here in your setup, let's take a look at your posture. So your spine is nice and straight and on a tilt, but it's too vertical. Your legs come down, they're too bent, which is causing you to sit back. Then you hold your arms out in front of you off your tilted spine, and the club works out to the ball. So that's fine there. So if I were going to work on your golf game, we would revise this starting position. We would push your tail out and up. We would at the same time push your sternum out, up, and forward. What that's going to do, it is just going to basically put your spine on a better incline. From there, by getting your tail out and up, it's also going to straighten your legs a lot more, so your legs are only unlocked. Your arms then can go ahead and hang down exactly as they are, and the club can work out to the ball. But this is clearly going to position you further away from the ball with your new starting position. Okay, whereas we can see, based on red, we're a lot closer to the ball. So getting you tail out, sternum out and up and forward. It'll straighten the legs a little bit. It'll increase the angle of the spine. Very important to get your spine on the proper incline so that when we create our backswing, our downswing, our follow through, our whole rotational axis should be this spine. And unfortunately, we're going to see you build a golf swing off of a position where the spine's too vertical and we're bending our knees and our weight sort of sitting back and down over our heels. Okay? Let's clear this stuff off the screen. Beyond that, alignment looks pretty good. I like the rest of your setup. Let's do a little split screen comparison here between you and Jordan Spieth. Got some color-coded lines on the screen just to use as a visual reference as it pertains to swing plane. Before we take a look at that, let's just get back to what I was talking about with respect to the posture. See how his spine's angled more forward. Definitely his tail's more out and up, and his legs are definitely not as bent as yours and sitting back. Okay? So if we change that position, then we can create this whole rotational movement off that axis. Issue with your golf swing, we're going to see a lot of up and down variances, maybe spinal position changing, your head moving, just because we didn't start in the right position. But let's go ahead and take a look at the golf swing. With Jordan Spieth, want to rotate our shoulders, bring our arms and hands back as well as the club. Want to see the club coming back on plane directly along the red line. Also through the early stages of the golf swing, want to transition the club head from being below and in front of our hands to getting that club head above and behind our hands. And then from here, working the club from red up towards the blue-yellow V zone. When we finally set the club at the top of the backswing, we either want to have the left arm in the golf club situated on the yellow line, anywhere between the blue-yellow V zone, or physically up on blue as we see with Jordan Spieth, with full shoulder rotation, doing this about a very stable left side, all the while maintaining the spinal axis, the posture that we created at address. So I am going to point this out just because I talked about it right from the get-go. So Jordan Spieth right now, his spine is sitting on a position about 52 degrees. Let's take him back to his address position and notice his spine is in the exact same position. So when he rotates, makes his backswing, he simply rotates on that axis. So with you, let's watch you initiate your takeaway here. You draw your hands back. A little bit of a disconnect. Your hands move out while the club you're popping in. So just a tiny disconnect there. Let's continue to move. Hopefully we get some wrist hinge into play. Club recovers. So that's pretty good right there. And let's work this right to the top. See where you set things. Okay, so when we get to the top of the backswing, I love your position here. I mean, you've rotated your shoulders nice. Your arm geometry is perfect relative to your core. Nice triangular position. And your club's in excellent position relative to your arms. Stable right side. I mean, everything looks really, really good here. So let me just point something out. Notice your right leg is not as bent as when you started. So I had stated that by getting your tail out and up, your legs would only go to an unlocked position. Well, you're actually moving to the unlocked position. So why not start there? One more thing. Let's look at your spine. Your spine's now situated at 52 degrees. The exact same angle as Jordan Spieth. You did not start there. So let's go back to address and look at where you started. Right? You started in a position where your spine was at 67 degrees with your legs extremely bent Then you make a backswing and you move into the exact position that I wanted you to start in. So now we look at your spine and we look at your leg, and notice your leg is not as bent, it's just unlocked, and your spinal position's in perfect position at 52 degrees. So if you're going to move to here during your backswing, you might as well establish it right from the get-go and then just create your rotational movement off of that new position, and there'll be no fluctuation. There'll be no elevation change. There'll be no movement from blue to red and then having to get out of the way and probably move back to blue when you swing back into the ball. So very, very important. The other thing I want to point out here too, though, is that, you know, with all this going on, if we mark your forehead and your chin, watch what happens to your head as you make your backswing. It completely moves out of the box from where you started. Okay? So we have to reduce this elevation change back, forward, up, down, whatever it is. Okay? At this point in time, we just want to pay attention to the downswing. Simply what should happen, obviously, with Jordan Spieth here is we want to move the weight from the right foot, fire it to the left. We want to, sorry, we got you moving here. Let me put it back on Jordan. Let me put you back in the position at the top before we take a look at your downswing. There we go. So with Jordan Spieth, we create our transition back to the ball, move our weight from our right foot to our left, fire our knees and our hips laterally to the target, unwind the core, fire the hands, and in doing so we want to bring the golf club from wherever we set it within the blue-yellow V zone, and we want the club to return back to red, which is where it originated. And that's exactly what we see here with Jordan Spieth. Now, this position right here is the most critical of a golf swing, having the club head return back to plane. This also, what we want to look at is a relationship between the lead forearm and the golf club. I refer to this as the backwards check mark. That simply means the club head right now is remaining above and behind the hands coming into the hitting zone. This is what's going to allow us to create a lot of power in our golf swing, let alone he's also going to hit the ball straight because the club has returned back to plane, as we already commented, which is the main criteria in producing straight golf shots. So let's watch your transition back into the ball. Your hands come over the top, out towards blue. So this over the top move, and that now you're actually fighting to keep the club head in behind your hand. So this is a nice correction right here. So you initiated an over the top move, but you're fighting to keep the club above and behind your hands. At this point in time, we can mark your lead forearm and your golf club and say, hey, you know what? We've got our backwards check mark. We're going to create some power in our golf swing. The only problem is the club head is not returning back to plane like what we see with Jordan Spieth. So as we continue to track your club head coming in the ball, it's probably going to fall out in front of you. Let's go to the next frame. There it is, yeah. So it's definitely fallen out in front. It's coming into the ball from over the top. Therefore, it's coming into the ball too steep. As we connect the dots here, you can get a better visual as to exactly how that club was coming into the ball. Okay? Whereas with Jordan Spieth, we see the club return back to plane here. That's your frame right here, which did not return to plane. And then with Jordan, he comes into the golf ball directly from the red line, and as I've already stated, this is what produces straight golf shots in accordance with our alignment, lastly assuming that the club face squares up via having a good grip. Okay? So now we can see vastly different descending planes with that club head. We can take a look at the path of the club. And we can see with Jordan Spieth that his club is inside the ball, expanding out to make contact. Club moves through in a nice natural subtle arc. Your club is outside the ball, dropping down and across to make contact. So that's the path of your club. So very simply put, I mean, if we square the club face up to the path, we'll hit it nice and solid, but where's the ball going? Well, it's going in the same direction as to where you're swinging, which is over here. If you over-release the club to the same red path, now you're going to impart right to left spin on the ball, and we're going to hit some form of pull draw or pull hook, depending on how much that club released. If we leave the club face a little open to the path, well, ball can start a little right of that. Now the face was a little open, impart a little left to right spin, no issues, create this nice little power fade. If we leave the club face too open to the path, incredibly, we can start the ball even further right, considering the fact that we're swinging way left. Face was wide open at that particular case then, and we're going to hit some kind of a block slice. So the end result of your golf shot is dictated based on the time of the club face. Because the club is attacking the ball from outside, moving, striking the ball to the inside, If we square the face up, it follows red. Over release the club follows the smaller red arrows. Under release the club follows blue. And if we time it properly, we'll follow yellow. But that does require a lot of timing on your part in order to produce that over and over and over. As you come through, let's look at your footwork. Great footwork. Get yourself through to a good finish. Don't need Jordan Spieth anymore as you're moving yourself through to a very nice finishing position. Overall, you got some really nice athletic characteristics in your golf swing. I mean, you bring your hands back and you fire them through. You coil, you uncoil. You've got good footwork. It allows you to get through to a good finish. Looks amazing. It's just unfortunate that, you know, when we get the golf club at the top of your backswing, we make this over-the-top move. We come into the ball steep and from out to in, and because we're swinging that club across the ball, we now have to compensate that club face and leave it open to hopefully hit some kind of a power fade. Again, if we over-release the club, that ball's going left. Under-release the club, it's going too far right. So like I said, it really comes down to a lot of timing with you. Okay? So ultimately, would like to improve your starting posture, balance, distance away from the ball, really get you in a position where you are at the top of the swing with the posture. Then ultimately, we need to teach you how to come into the ball from on plane so we can have consistency. Because the three things that determine our consistency are good alignment, feet running parallel left of the target, good downswing plane, and then associating a square face. Unfortunately, your downswing plane's over the top. At that point in time, you're compensating with the face of the club, and it really is not going to matter at that stage of the game. Okay? So anyways, if at any point in time you want to work on any of these aspects of your golf game, certainly feel free to contact me. I'm over at Glen Abbey in Oakville, where the event was held. I'd be happy to structure a little program for you. Also, if you're involved with any golf tournaments at all, you guys are looking to provide your guests with a unique gift, certainly feel free to touch base. Be happy to discuss my services. Anyways, hope you had a great day, and I also hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video here. Take care.